The headlights cut through the falling snow like a blade through darkness. William Harrison slowed his car as the storm thickened, flakes spiraling wildly across Route 9. He had driven this road hundreds of times since moving to Connecticut, yet tonight it felt unfamiliar, quiet, heavy, expectant. Then he saw her. A woman in a white wedding dress walked along the roadside. She held her high heels by their straps, letting them swing loosely from her fingers. Her hair hung damp and disheveled around her shoulders, and the hem of her expensive gown was torn and soaked, dragging across the asphalt. She looked like she had stepped out of a dream, or a disaster, normally would have driven past. He had learned the hard way to mind his own business. Life had taught him that getting involved usually came with consequences. But something about the way she walked stopped him. It wasn't frantic. It wasn't dramatic. It was slow and deliberate, as if she were trying to outrun something inside herself. Will pulled over and rolled down his window. "Do you need help?" The woman stopped. Snow gathered on her shoulders like a fragile veil. She looked up, and even in the dim glow of the headlights, we could see her beauty, polished, refined, the kind shaped by expensive salons and private schools. But beneath it was something raw, something desperate. "I'm fine," she said. Her voice carried the subtle accent of old money and careful breeding. Will glanced at her dress, at the bare road, at the storm growing heavier by the minute. "You're walking in a wedding dress. In a snowstorm. On Route 9. A brief smile flickered across her face before disappearing. "When you put it that way, it does sound dramatic." He shifted the car into park. "Look, I don't know what happened tonight. I won't ask. No judgment. But you're going to freeze out here. Just get in the car. Warm up. I'll take you wherever you want." She hesitated, glancing down the road as if expecting someone to appear. The beadwork on her gown caught the light like scattered stars. "I don't actually have a destination," she admitted quietly. Will reached across and opened the passenger door. Sometimes that's the best kind of journey. After another moment, she slid into the seat with careful grace. She pulled the seatbelt across the voluminous skirt, creating a strange contrast between fairy tale silk and mundane reality. "I'm Will," he said as he pulled back onto the road. "Tori," she replied after a pause. "Thank you." They drove in silence as snow whispered against the windshield. Will stole glances at her profile, trying to piece together her story. A dress like that didn't come from impulse, and the way she carried herself, controlled, composed, spoke of wealth. But something fragile lay beneath it, like ice ready to crack. "Are you cold?" he asked. "A little." He reached into the back seat and grabbed a worn wool blanket, one of his daughter Charlie's many comfort items that had migrated into the car over the years. "Here, it's not much, but it's warm." Tori wrapped it around her shoulders, the faded cartoon characters clashing with the silk and lace. She noticed his glance and smiled ruefully. "I suppose I look ridiculous." "You look like someone having the worst night of her life," Will said gently. "And that's okay." Something in his voice made her study him more closely. "You sound like you speak from experience." "Don't we all?" The grand estates of Greenwich gave way to quieter streets as Will drove without direction. His house was only a few miles away, a colonial revival Sarah had loved 8 years ago. Too big now, too full of memories. "Where should I take you?" he asked. Tori was quiet for a long time. "I don't have anywhere to go. I gave up my apartment when I moved in with—" She gestured vaguely at the dress. "And I can't go with my parents. They're the reason I'm wearing this." Will surprise himself. "I have a guest room." She turned to him sharply. "You don't know me." "That's true," he said, "but I remember what it feels like to be lost." Snow crunched beneath the tires as he pulled into his driveway. The porch light glowed warmly against the dark. Charlie was spending the night at a friend's house, something Will was suddenly grateful for. Inside, the house smelled faintly of coffee and wood polish. Family photos lined the shelves. Children's artwork decorated the refrigerator. "You have a beautiful home," Tori said softly. "My wife chose most of it," Will replied, then corrected himself. "My late wife. I'm sorry." "Coffee," he offered. "I was going to make some anyway." As Will worked in the kitchen, Tori wandered the living room, studying the photos. A wedding, a pregnancy announcement, a tiny baby growing into a bright-eyed little girl. Love radiated from every frame. "How long?" she asked when he returned. 2 years, Will said. "Cancer." "What was her name?" "Sarah." "She sounds wonderful." She was. They talked until nearly 3 in the morning. About loss. About fear. About becoming someone you never planned to be. When exhaustion finally claimed them, Will showed her to the guest room, offering Sarah's old clothes and toiletries. "Thank you," Tori whispered, "for stopping, for being kind." "Get some sleep," Will said. "Tomorrow's a new day." Will woke to the sound of voices in the kitchen. For a moment, confusion washed over him. The house had been painfully quiet for so long that noise felt unfamiliar. Then memory returned. Snow, a wedding dress, a woman named Tori, and something warm stirred in his chest. When he stepped into the kitchen, he stopped short. Tori stood at the stove wearing one of Sarah's old sweaters. Sleeves pushed up, her hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. She looked younger, softer, more real than she had the night before. At the table sat Charlie, his 8-year-old daughter, watching her with a serious curiosity only children possessed. "Dad," Charlie exclaimed. "Emma's mom brought me home early because she felt sick, and there's a lady making pancakes." Will open his mouth, then close it again. "This is Tori," he said carefully. "She's staying with us for a little while." Charlie tilted her head. "Are you Dad's girlfriend?" "Charlie," Will warned. "It's okay," Tori said, crouching to Charlie's level. "I'm just a friend who needed help. Your dad was very kind to me." Charlie nodded solemnly. "He's good at helping people. He helped me when Mom died." Will's throat tightened. It was the first time Charlie had mentioned Sarah, without prompting in months. "Your mom must have been very special," Tori said gently. "She was the best," Charlie replied. "She made pancakes like these. Dad are always too thick." "Maybe you can teach him the secret," Tori said with a wink. Over breakfast, we'll watch something shift. Charlie talked more than she had in weeks, showing Tori her drawings, asking questions, laughing. It felt like sunlight breaking through a long winter. Later that day, while Will worked, Tori stayed with Charlie. When he returned home, he found them bundled in coats in the backyard, laughing as they knelt near the overgrown garden. "We're planting a new one," Charlie announced. "Tori says flowers grow back if you're patient." Will swallowed. Sarah's garden had been her pride. He let it go wild because touching it hurt too much. "All the best things take time," Tori said quietly. That night, they sat on the porch sharing wine while snow fell softly. "She's been happier today," Will said. "I was afraid I wasn't enough." "You are," Tori replied. "Love is showing up even when you're scared." He hesitated. "You could stay. For a while." 3 days later, black SUVs filled the driveway. Theodore Blackstone stood at the door, tall, polished, powerful. "I believe you have something that belongs to me," he said. "I don't believe people belong to anyone," Will replied. Tori appeared beside Will, pale but resolute. "I'm not coming back," she said. "You'll regret this," Theo snapped. "Without me, you have nothing." "Then I'll build something myself," she answered. After he left, Tori trembled. "Everything he said about the money is true." "You're not alone," Will said, "and you're stronger than you think." Days turned into weeks. Tori found work in nonprofit. Charlie flourished. The garden slowly came back to life. One evening, Charlie asked, "Are you going to marry Tori?" Will laughed softly. "How would you feel about that?" "She doesn't try to be Mom," Charlie said, "but she isn't afraid of her either." That night, Will took Tori's hand. "I love you. I love you too," she whispered. "But I'm scared." Then we wait. Spring arrived. One June morning, Charlie held up a drawing of the three of them standing before a blooming garden. At the bottom she'd written, "My family is growing." Tori knelt, tears in her eyes. "I want to grow with you," she said. Will pulled her into an embrace. "Welcome home." Outside, the garden bloomed. Proof that with patience, care, and courage, even the most broken beginnings can become something beautiful.